everybody, welcome to my homestead and welcome to my channel. In this video, I'm going to be sharing something that I found in Doctrines of Salvation, Volume 2 by Joseph Fielding Smith. It has to do with a question that I've always had on my mind. I just haven't known about this until now. I've always wondered, we're doing family history work, right? But you can only go back so far uh, until the records start to get a little unreliable or there are no records at all. And so I've always wondered how are we going to go back and find everybody? You know, um, even if you did have records, there's some people that um, maybe there was a child that died and it wasn't recorded, or any number of circumstances. People that were born that nobody knew about, and so I found the answer. I found the answer here as well as on a BYU, Idaho website with a few other quotes. So I'm going to go over that in case anybody was wondering. This is how it's going to happen. Now I'm going to start off the video with somebody responded to my call for missionary photos. It was Bob D. I'm putting his photo up here on the screen. He says, "Dear Jared, we are Bob and Susan Dransfield. As a young elder, I served in the England Southwest Mission from 72 to 74. More recently, my wife and I were called to serve in the Czech Slavic Mission on an 18-month MLS, or Member Leadership Service mission." And you guys, when it comes to senior missionaries, I know that there's like a number of different types of missions. So if you are someone that's thinking about doing a senior mission, a senior couple mission, I would encourage you to do it. There's all different types. We had military missionaries. They were both at boot camp, and we had some that were at Fort Hood that came and visited with us. So if you're a veteran and you feel like doing a military mission, but there's all sorts. There are all sorts. So look into it. Okay, and good job, Bob and Susan, for doing your mission. Okay, so COVID-19 brought us home 2 months early, and that sucks, but at least it was only 2 months and not like 6 months or something like that. This is a picture taken in Slovakia. The city is called Chichmani. We took some missionaries to attend this cultural event where townsmen and women dressed in traditional clothing. We always enjoyed being around young elders and sisters. Speaking the Slavic language was not required for us to learn, although we learned some simple sentences. After sending all 6 of our sons on missions, it was time for us to serve him together. And I'm hoping that me and my wife that we do that too. That's our plan. We want to do it. So I'm glad that you guys were able to do it. It was an experience of a lifetime. Great memories. Our sons served their missions in this order: Robert to Guatemala City, Guatemala; Jason, Nashville, Tennessee; Brad, Moscow, Russia; Will, Johannesburg, South Africa. Wow, they got all around. That's like every continent almost. Kenneth, Navarro, Madagascar; and David, Houston, Texas. We are a missionary family. On a side note, at the end of their missions, we picked them all up off their missions, even the ones that stayed stateside. So we had traveled extensively. Yeah, that is all over the place. We obviously have been blessed to have outstanding children to raise. We've also been blessed to have 31 grandchildren. Holy cow, that is awesome. Certainly, we recommend anyone contemplating serving a senior mission to go, go, go. Kindest regards, Bob and Susan Dransfield from Meridian, Idaho. And I would like to second that. I would like to do my part using this platform to encourage people to go on missions. If you're of mission age or you're thinking about serving a senior couple mission, please do so. Please think about it and please do so. And then if you're a sister and you're getting the feeling to do it, please do it. That was the big call this last conference, was to go on missions if you can. Okay, so this section in Doctrines of Salvation, Volume 2, is titled Temple Work During the Millennium. And Joseph Fielding Smith says, "During this time of peace, when the righteous shall come forth from their graves, they shall mingle with mortal men on the earth and instruct them. The veil which separates the living from the dead will be withdrawn, and mortal men and the ancient saints shall converse together, which we know that's going to happen. And that's going to be kind of a incredible experience to be able to talk to somebody from the beginning of this world, right? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,000 years ago. Holy cow. Um, we're going to have a much better picture of history at that point because we're going to be talking to the actual people that were there. History is almost certainly going to be rewritten once this happens. We're going to have so much information. But anyway, the veil which separates the living from the dead will be withdrawn, and mortal men and ancient saints shall converse together. Moreover, in perfect harmony, they shall labor for the salvation and exaltation of the worthy who have died without the privileges of the gospel. The great work of the millennium shall be performed in the temples which shall cover all parts of the land, and into which the children shall go to complete the work of their fathers, which they could not do when in this mortal life for themselves. In this manner, those who have passed through the resurrection and who know all about people and conditions on the other side will place in the hands of those who are in mortality the necessary information by and through which the great work of salvation for every worthy soul shall be performed. And thus the purposes of the Lord, as determined before the foundation of the world, will be fully consummated. So essentially, we're going to find out about all these different people, of which there is no record uh, across the entire face of the earth. We're going to learn about those people from these resurrected saints that are going to be able to let us know about them. Someone in a recent comment, sorry, I can't remember who, I can't look it up right now, but someone was wondering, basically, are we going to be in contact with the spirit world during that time, or how? Well, it seems like there's still going to be people in the spirit world, and then we, because by that point we're not going to die. Uh, we're going to live to the age of a tree, 100 years old, and then just pass on into resurrection. So we're not even going to experience. And when I say we, I really do think that these generations right now that are living are going to move into the millennium. We're never going to experience the spirit world, uh, which is kind of unfortunate because I kind of would like to know what that's like, but not so much that I actually want to do. I still want to go into the millennium, so please don't send me out before that happens. But anyway, so we're going to get that information through those who are resurrected, and they will provide us the necessary information. So that is a fascinating concept. Now, Joseph Fielding Smith is not the only one who has said this. I'm going to this BYU Idaho um, collection of quotes. This is from Brigham Young. In the millennium, when the kingdom of God is established on the earth in power, glory, and perfection, and the reign of wickedness that has so long prevailed is subdued, the saints of God will have the privilege of building their temples and entering into them, becoming, as it were, pillars in the temples of God, and they will officiate for their dead. Then we will see our friends come up, and perhaps some that we have been acquainted with here. If we ask who will stand at the head of the resurrection in this last dispensation, okay, so the head of the resurrection in this last dispensation, the answer is Joseph Smith Jr., the prophet of God. Now, this is interesting because we've read before that it's going to be Adam who, I don't know if it's going to be literally or not, he's going to blow a horn, which will initiate the resurrection. So it seems like Adam would still ultimately preside based off of what we've read, and then maybe he would delegate it down to Joseph Smith Jr. That's my best guess right now. He is the man who will be resurrected and receive the keys of the resurrection, and he will seal this authority upon others, and they will hunt up their friends and resurrect them when they shall have been officiated for, and bring them up. Now, pretend that you were someone that was delegated the keys of resurrection from Joseph Smith. What does it mean that you will hunt up your friends? So will you be able to like look into the spirit world, or are you just going to like search through the records that have been provided um, from those who are resurrected and like look for your deceased ancestors, and that's the hunting? I don't know. Okay, and then he continues, and we will have revelations to know our forefathers, clear back to Father Adam and Mother Eve, and we will enter into temples of God and officiate for them. So here, Brigham Young is saying that we will have revelations to know our forefathers, which revelation can come through other people. It can come through resurrected people. So I don't see those two statements as being in conflict. But anyway, then man will be sealed to man until the chain is made perfect back to Adam, so that there will be a perfect chain of priesthood from Adam to the winding up scene. Now, that's interesting that he says the winding up scene. Uh, that's something I've wanted to. Let me pull up the scripture citation index. I think I started doing this, but let's look up winding up scene, because I think that's something that's been said recently. No, the last time is 2015. What if I take out the hyphen? I don't know if that makes a difference. No. Anyway, that'll be for another video. I know I've heard something like this, winding up scene, recently. Okay, this will be the work of the Latter-day Saints in the Millennium. As I have frequently told you, that is the work of the Millennium. It is the work that has to be performed by the seed of Abraham, the chosen seed, the royal seed, the blessed of the Lord, those the Lord made covenants with. They will step forth and save every son and daughter of Adam who will receive salvation here on the earth, and all the spirits in the spirit world will be preached to, conversed with, and the principles of salvation carried to them, that they may have the privilege of receiving the gospel, and they will have plenty of children here on earth to officiate for them in those ordinances of the gospel that pertain to the flesh. We are trying to save the living and the dead. The living can have their choice, the dead have not. Millions of them died without the gospel, without the priesthood, and without the opportunities that we enjoy. We shall go forth in the name of Israel's God and attend to the ordinances for them. And through the millennium, the 1,000 years that the people will love and serve God, we will build temples and officiate therein for those who have slept for hundreds and thousands of years. Those who would have received the truth if they had the opportunity, and we'll bring them up and form the chain entire back to Adam. Okay, now we have John Taylor. He says, we read sometimes about the millennium, but what do we know about it? It is a time when the work will be going on, when this work will be going on, and temples, thousands of them, will be reared for the accomplishment of the object's design, in which communications from the heavens will be received in regards to our labors, how we may perform them, and for whom. This is the work devolving upon us. So here he is also saying that it's going to be received. Where'd it go? Communications from heaven will be received. So again, that could be in the form of resurrected people telling us who to do work for. Okay, now another one. This is from Joseph Fielding Smith. Okay, he says, President Brigham Young has said that during the millennium, those on the other side will work hand in hand with those in mortality and will furnish the names of the dead, which we are unable to obtain through our research. And thus, Every soul that is entitled to these blessings shall be ferreted out, and his work done for him. I fully believe that many among the dead, those who are worthy, are even now engaged in compiling records and arranging information, if it has not already been done for this very purpose. Why should they not be so engaged? Uh, that's from Doctrines of Salvation, to volume. I think that's volume 2, page 120. Uh, Sorry, I just have to see if that's in here. Oh yeah, he says it down here. Interesting. Okay, let's continue. Uh, then each generation must be joined to the one which went on before. In this way, eventually, all the families which are entitled to celestial exaltation are joined together from generation to generation back to the time of our first parents, Adam and Eve. This will not all be done before the coming of our Lord, but the great work of the millennium will be the temple ordinances for the dead who are worthy to receive it. And you have to think about this. I know that everyone's probably thought about this before. There's going to be gaps, obviously, because not everybody's going to accept the gospel. Not everyone's going to be worthy. So, family structures are going to be, um, they're going to be rearranged, right? That's something I think that we need to realize. Just like I've talked about when it comes to when the earth is cleansed, not all family members are going to move on into the millennium because every family, I'm sure, has at least someone that's living a telestial law, and so they're not going to be moving forward. So I think we need to just be aware of that idea that things are going to be rearranged when everything is said and done. Anyway, uh, okay, now the work of saving the dead has practically been reserved for the dispensation of the fullness of times when the Lord shall restore all things. It is, therefore, the duty of the Latter-day Saints to see that it is accomplished. We cannot do it all at once, but we'll have the 1,000 years of the millennium to do it in. In that time, the work must be done in behalf of the dead for the previous 6,000 years, for all who need it. Temples will be built for this purpose, and the labor in them will occupy most of the time of the saints. So that's interesting because it makes it seem like most of our time will be in temples. It's going to be interesting to see how that plays out when it comes to doing temple work, but also doing other work. I don't think that the nature of work is going to be the same as it is right now, where we're like working to survive. I think that work is probably going to be for like higher purposes, like sciences, great architecture, art, things that like don't have to do so much with survival, right? But I don't know. Who knows? Okay. By the time Christ comes, we are expected to have all that is within our power to do now for our dead. That does not mean we are going to do all that is to be done, because it will go on during the millennium. The great work of the millennium will be the salvation of the dead, and those who are on the other side will help us too by bringing us information. The ordinances of the salvation of the dead are mortal ordinances because all these ordinances pertain to this life, and immortal beings cannot perform them. Some people may think that it is impossible for us to do this work for the dead because we have not the names of people who lived in ancient times. We have not the records. We do not know how to reach them from anything that we have in this life, and there have been millions of people who no doubt were honest and did the best they knew, but died without the knowledge of the gospel, whose names it is impossible for us to obtain. How are they going to be saved? It is our duty to go to the temple and take our records and work for the dead of our own lineage as far back as we can go. But what about these others? I will tell you. The great work of the millennium of 1,000 years will be for the salvation of these souls. Now, let us keep it clearly in our minds that we, excuse me, that we do not enter into exaltation until after the resurrection. We do not enter into exaltation in the spirit world. We have privileges there, of course, based on faithfulness and obedience to the gospel, but during the millennium, and that is the great purpose of the millennium, we will go into the temples. Okay, so there's the answer in case anybody was wondering. I was not clear on this, but here it is. So, okay. Um, so if you haven't already, please make sure to subscribe, like this video if you liked it. If you would like your photo featured in the next video or upcoming videos, email me. My email is in the description of every video. Like this video if you liked it. Make sure to leave your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. Also make sure to share this with anyone that might have this same question, because here are the answers, and I'll talk to you guys later.